the Yankees have some decisions on what they're going to do with protecting players from the Rule 5 draft. If you don't know what the Rule 5 draft is, it's when a player who's played, I think, 5 years in the minors, if they came into the league under 18, or 4 years if they came into the league over 18. When they've played that amount of time, if they're not on the team's 40-man roster, then at the Rule 5 draft, any team can select them, take them from that team's organization, and put them on their major league roster. So we have to protect some players from the Rule 5 draft and clear up some roster spots to do that. So currently, when you take into account the players that we have on the 60-day IL, the Yankees have 41 people on their 40-man roster. That's after Allen got DFA'd, Andrew Velazquez got DFA'd, and Brantley was removed. Now, I have three main players I think we should add to the 40-man roster, and these three players are Everson Periera, who is ranked on MLB Pipeline as the 13th best prospect, but in my personal prospect rankings, I have him ranked 6th. If you want a video on rankings of every prospect, I'll leave that in the description. Next, Oswaldo Cabrera, who is ranked number 16th on MLB Pipeline, but I like him more as a utility player, switch hitting, second baseman and shortstop. Hit 272 in the minors with an 863 OPS in AA and AAA combined. I could see him coming up as a utility player, so I could see us protecting him from the roster. And then the third guy is Brandon Lockridge, a 24-year-old outfielder who in the minors was really good. He hit 298 with a 847 OPS in AA and a high A. And he did his best in AA, where in 43 games he hit 328 with a 490 OPS. And he is blazing fast. He stole 18 bases in the minors, but that does not give you the full scope of his speed. MLB Fangraphs says he's an 80-80 runner, so he's as fast as you can get. So those are three players that are eligible for the Rule 5 draft. We don't have to protect players like Anthony Volpe because he still has 2 more years until eligibility. And same with players like Austin Wells. So these are the players who, if we don't protect, can be claimed by teams. So with the 41 people on the roster, to add those 3, we would need to clear off 4 spots here. Now, the first player I would clear off is Chris Gittins. Gittins is 27. He's a first baseman. He hit really well in the minors, but in the majors in 16 games, he stunk, barely hitting above 100. Has a big strikeout problem. It's another big power right-handed bat, but I think he's someone who's just always going to be stuck in AAA. You know, he hit really well there. He had 14 home runs with a 301 average, but was injured for almost half of the season in the in the minors, and I think he's just a guy who will be stuck in AAA, so I can see us DFAing him and removing him from the 40-man roster. The next player that I would remove, and I would remove this guy instantly, is Nick Nelson. Now, Nelson is absolutely horrible. In 14 innings this season in the majors, he had an 8.79 ERA. He's 25 years old. In the minors, he had an ERA around 5. Horrible walk problem. The pitches aren't that good. There's not much to like about Nick Nelson. So I would also DFA him. I don't see a spot with him on the team. So that's 2 down. Next is Julio Rodriguez, who has a club option with the Yankees. So he could come back, but I think we're going to decline the option. He was great in a short tenure with the Yankees, boasting a 2.84 ERA and 19 innings pitched. But he's been really bad in the past. I mean, with Texas this season in 27 innings pitched, his ERA was almost 6. So he's just a lefty killer. Really, really good against lefties, but I could see us DFAing him. So that is 3 players down. And I think that we might have to just leave it there. The only other player who I would want to DFA on this roster would be Estevan Florial. He only has one minor league option left, which means that after the next season, we're not going to be able to move him up and down from the minors. And he has worse stats than Brandon Lockridge. I think this would be an example of saying this other prospect that we have in the farm, they've done slightly better than you, so we're gonna add them to our roster, have more years of service, to have more years we can send you up and down in between the minors. So that is my solution to the Rule 5 roster crunch and the 40-man roster crunch. So tell me who you would DFA and who you would add to the 40-man roster.